So I feel like every now and then I see this conversation pop back up, and there's varying degrees on people's opinion on it. But I did see yet another article talking about difficulty in video games and adding easy modes. Well, now we have Square Enix jumping into the fold with a option for the FF7 remake that they're going to be re-releasing, I guess. That's basically just going to add, for lack of a better term, cheats without restrictions. And I personally think that this is a bit of a ridiculousness. I can understand like adding like easy modes or adding ways inside the game to make the game easier for those that want it, or adding certain, I don't know, options inside the game. But I think this one kind of takes the cake as far as what we've seen recently. So this is coming from the co-director for the FF7 remakes, and he goes on to say you can turn on streamlined progression in the settings menu, allowing you to enable options like constant max HP or constant max damage, or even boost your XP gain rate. In effect, it's sort of a god mode that he personally pushed for its inclusion. Now, I think adding these kind of settings is literally like going back in time and just turning on cheat codes. And I feel that stuff like this is where you should probably draw the line, and it kind of takes the whole game out of the game. I feel like these are just options for people that want to experience nothing but the story, and that's it. Like people that basically just want to play an RPG as a movie. I don't know. I feel like this is just a bit much, in my personal opinion. I feel like if you're going to do something like this, why not just make a special game mode that has basically combat with no real difficulty to it? Like basically where you can just steamroll everything because you're so powerful without doing this infinite health and max damage all the time kind of thing. And I understand there's people out there that don't have all the time in the world to play through these kind of games, which I think that this is still a bit much. I mean, people play games to play games, and I get some people play games because they just enjoy the story, but at the same time, it's still a game. Like, you're playing a little bit at least, and I feel like something like this just goes a bit too far. But he does go on to say, naturally, when we announce features like these, we get responses like, this is sacrilegious. Even within the dev team, there are people who feel that way. But unless someone takes the initiative, it doesn't happen. I personally believe that with digital entertainment today, the players should have the choice in how they interact with content. That's why I pushed for it. Now, I do agree with that to an extent. I think that it should be optional and not something that you're forced into. So I do think that that's a good, mentality and a way of going about it. But at the same time, how much is too much? You know what I mean? And when do you kind of like draw that line between what's the difference between adding in options like this and adding in, for PCs, people make cheat engines and trainers and stuff like that, which is literally just hacking the game. So I wonder what is the difference between just straight up game hacks and cheats versus adding in options like this that are essentially the same thing. So, and I get it's single player games, but at the same time, like, are you really playing it at that point? Like, why bother? But I get it. Everybody has their own way of playing games and stuff like that. But I feel like this might be a bit much, especially when you're getting pushback between fans and a development team at the same time. But moving on. He does add, personally, I like to try many different games just to keep myself up to date, but I don't really have the time, so I only get so far. Sometimes it makes me wish I had access to debug functions so I could cover more. I get that there are, people that their jobs or their family life kind of consumes a lot of their time, so therefore they can't really, enjoy every game that comes out or whatever. But I don't really think those people are really going out of their way to, wish that there were cheat codes in games or a way for them to just, steamroll everything with no challenge whatsoever. Now, I will say I do not think that JRPGs should really have options like this because, let's be honest, most JRPGs are not exactly difficult games by any means. Most of them you can become over-leveled very easily and start steamrolling stuff like well before the end of the game. And of course, most JRPG fans know that these kind of games are not exactly quick games to go through. They're very lengthy games for the most part. And so most people aren't going to go into them wanting to steamroll it or just have it done quickly or whatever. They know they're in there for a long haul, for at least, 30 to 70 hours, whatever. Depends on how much side stuff you do or whatever. But I don't really think these kind of options are really best fitting for JRPGs. I think most of these kind of options that he's wanting to implement, or, at least for the reasons he's claiming he wants to do it, because not everybody has time or, whatever. They just want an easy way through the game. Most people that want those kind of options are for games like, like your open worlds or something that's like a huge time sink and you just want to kind of like fast track all that progression. I can see those kind of games being like that, but for something like a JRPG that's more story driven and they're not necessarily, there for the difficulty to begin with. I don't know. It just seems like it's not the best place or genre for it, really. I don't really think that's what people are asking for. I think most people that want difficulty sliders or, difficulty modes in a game, I think those kind of people just want something that's, still lets them play the game without it being too easy and then it becomes nothing but a bore fest and then a cutscene simulator. I don't know. I just seen this and figured I'd kind of talk about it, give my opinion. But feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think this is a bit too much? Should video games really be adding in cheat codes back into their games through like options or whatever? Yeah, I'd like to hear what you guys think. But if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, sub, all that good jazz. Yeah, till next time.